Previously, on Talk That Talk. People who were like, "Yeah, I was ready when I left." I was like, but I think that, and I don't know if it has to do with the university. I don't know if it has to do when I'm talking about the specific university. I don't know if it has to do with the type of university, whether it's an HBCU or a predominantly white institution.
Fair.
But I really don't know too many people who were like ready to go when they left college. It was, I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
And it may be because I just know a bunch of people who are in education. I think that may be it as well, right? Because we've talked about it a lot on the show that a lot of educators weren't prepared when they tipped. Like they didn't have the knowledge that they were supposed to have. They didn't have the tools that they were supposed to have. They walked into a teaching situation that was not the ideal situation that they were told about. It was not their I can't even think about it right now. Their student teaching situation. It just wasn't any of that. And so when they walked out and they walked into their own position, it was a position of uncertainty. It was a situation of uncertainty. So I really don't know what that looks like. I know I have talked to my professors at Tech, and I've heard them mention that they have schools specifically connected to the university that they more or less try to get their students, their graduating students in as, teachers once they graduate. So I know that those types of things are happening in certain places, but in totality, I don't know what being prepared looks like.
Yeah.
Like people say, like you were about to say, and I know kind of Walter kind of said it in the chat, he was prepared for life. I don't even know what that looks like, right? Because college, you can say whatever you want to say. College shelters, it's shelters, but you get 3 square meals a day, and if you living on campus, you straight. Like you not think about all that kind of stuff now. And then now it's a whole nother ball game when you're talking about loans and stuff like that. Because when you graduate, you wouldn't even think about them loans.
I was gonna say, who was worried about that?
It was like, yo, we still good. And then they all of a sudden you hit that graduation and they send you that information and you like, well, what the I
deferred. That's what somebody told about deferred. Great. Still ain't gotta think about it. Pass it to the next year or next whatever.
You are terrible.
I'm being honest. That's exactly what happened. You said what loans? I don't know. I don't know who she is. Defer it. We'll think about it later.
I'm just saying, at the end oh god, that's so terrible. At the end of the day, though, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what being prepared for life looks like. Like,
yeah,
what does that look like? I can't listen. I left Houston, went to Virginia, stayed in Virginia for 8 to 9 years, left Virginia and went to St. Croix. Like that, I wasn't prepared for none of that.
Sure.
At all. I wasn't prepared to meet a group of people I ain't never been around before. Like I wanted the experience. Don't get me wrong. Sure. Blue water. By the way, side note, I made myself a promise. I will never again get in brown water again after living in St. Croix for 2 years. You ain't got to make that face. You don't act like you ain't never been to Galveston. You know what that water looked like in Galveston. So
exactly. And when I knew better, I started to do better.
Exactly. I ain't getting that mess no more. But yeah, I went to St. Croix and I lived there, and I wasn't prepared for that mess either. Like I was trying to navigate that. Like when I got there, they set me up with a place which was super dope. I was happy about that. But I had never paid like rent before and dealt with my own bills. And I'm out here in the middle of nowhere where nobody knows me. I ain't got no family around, and I got to navigate through that. And college ain't prepared me for that. I was, once again, 3 square meals a day. I can eat as much and drink as much as I want to. And you gave me a card with some extra point daddy so I can go to the Pizza Hut if I need to, or the Chick-fil-A. Oh, nah, I was straight. I didn't want to leave either until I just got tired of college, though. So that was a completely different situation.
I mean, all relatable content. So honestly, it felt like a bit of a downfall, right? So I'm gonna switch it back a little bit. You know how just like the show with the high school students, how we told them, you have that shift in high school, you make it to the top, you go back down to the bottom again.
Yeah.
It felt that same way leaving college, just in a different form, right? Because it's like, okay, let's put it in a band world, right? You made head drum major or drum major, or you made section leader or band captain or whatever your leadership, or what, just the fact that you had 4 marching years, SWAC hours, MEAC hours, whomsoever hours in your back pocket, right?
You got hours
You
out.
hours on hours, yours, mine hours. So you have known on campus, right? You have this clout, you have this comfort. Now I'm about to, not only do I have to figure out, I'm going into code switching mode, because now I'm leaving my HBCU, I'm leaving my folks, going into the real world. I'm just an incy bincy little number. And damn, when I walk out, you trying to tell me these folks ain't gonna know who I am. That's tough. That's tough to deal with, depending on who you are. I got to start all over, and I don't even know where to start from. Child, please, we don't talk enough about postgraduate depression, because that's a thing too. Because I definitely felt myself like, shit, this is what it's like.
See, first of all, I hit the I agree button, and it was really funny because you were talking at the same time. So it was like two of y'all at the same time.
I didn't hear it. What happened?
No,
I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
I do agree.
Anyway,
Postgraduate depression is something else.
Yeah, I mean, but real talk. First of all, I've never even heard of that. I think that is something that needs to be talked about. Postgraduate depression, that is real.
I don't know if that's the actual. Oh, I think it's a. Let me look it up. It may be like a thing, but that's like a thing that's made by people. A thing, maybe like a Twitter thing, something like that. But I mean, yeah.
Don't
Post-graduation anxiety.
Post-grad depression.
And then, okay, let's talk about this, right? They say, okay, yes, well, you go to career services or what have you. We'll start getting your resume together. Okay, what's the resume going to say? Because I've never really had a true job that's going to be that I can put on my resume to get a new job, right? So now you're telling me I got to have experience to get a job. I got to have experience to have experience. I got to have a job to get the experience to get experience for the job that I want. Okay, fine. Now, depending on what type of community or how much knowledge or mentors or whatever that you had, you get a job. Okay, I didn't know going into the workforce that I need to be getting multiple offers. Don't just settle on the first one or two that you get, because I'm like, well, shit, I got me a job, I got my little money coming in, it's up, like I'm good. No, girl, you need to be out just because you got your little whatever my starting salary was. Yeah, but are you doing better? But then that goes back to, well, dang, is it because I chose psychology that I'm only able to choose from these quote unquote jobs? Or really and truly, what jobs am I supposed to be trying to get?
Listen, you are preaching right now. Oh, Lord,
I'm upset because I
ain't got my praise break music on.
I remember that, Maya. I remember that.
But I remember, see, I got the praise break music on for you. But I just remember my situation. I remember when things got so frustrating for me that and this is a true story, I threw my degree. Like, I was sitting in the house looking at the degree, and I'm like, bro, I cannot get hired. Like, I've graduated, I got my hours, but I cannot get hired. And I just threw my degree. Like, man, F this degree, dog. Like, what is it doing for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's really like what you just said brought that memory back for me, because I now remember what that felt like. I graduated and had nothing. If it wasn't for, well, first of all, the grace of God, I'm gonna put that out there, Father. If it wasn't for you, then none of that would have been possible. But if it wasn't for the grace of God and my boy who was sitting right next to me at the time when it happened, Dr. Sanford got a call that they needed a band director in St. Croix. That was the reason why I went to St. Croix. I ain't go to St. Croix on some chill stuff. I went to work.
Sure.
But the only reason why I got that call is I was sitting in the room at the time when he called, and my boy was like, "Yo, Luke can go," and I was like, "I can go where?" He was like, "Dog, shut up, pack your bag, go."
You going,
That's
yeah.
the only reason. That's the only reason and way that I ended up starting my teaching career was from